What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to do a quick behind the scenes on one of the shorts that I made earlier this year that got quite a few views for me, and it got a lot of comments, both positive and negative. I wanted to give you some context behind the video because some of the comments were so far out in left field and just inaccurate, so I wanted to elaborate on a few things. If you haven't seen this short yet, I'm going to pin it in the comment below. That way you have a link so you can watch it on your own time. However, you can see it right here now, but I'm going to keep it on mute. That way it can just loop in the background while I talk about it. And speaking of mute, apparently a lot of people watch this with no volume, and they were under the impression that the cook was dumping raw sewage into the ocean, and that was not the case whatsoever. If you watched it with audio, you'd understand what was going on. It was not raw sewage. These are food scraps that are collected throughout the day on the oil rig from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We are about 100 miles offshore and about 75 feet up in the air. The whole point of this video for me to make this was to show you how many sharks are in the water. And the question was, from the beginning, would you survive the jump if you were to jump that 75 feet? And yeah, it would hurt, but I do think you would survive. But there's a debate online, if you read some of these comments, about would you get eaten by sharks. I personally don't believe you would get eaten by sharks if you were bleeding or something. I mean, maybe over a matter of time it could happen, but you got to think about these oil rigs that are making gazillions of dollars out there. And if the underwater workers that went under there to work on the oil rig, they were doing welding or what have you, that so many of you people were concerned about, they're not getting eaten alive. It's just a fact. It's not happening. If that was the case, there would be lawsuits left and right from these family members who are losing their loved ones getting eaten by sharks. The reality is it's just not happening. And what's in the bucket, for the record, it's ground up food that goes through a meat shredder, so it's condensed and smaller by the time you chuck it overboard to feed the fish. There's no plastic going into the water, there's no bones going into the water, there's no cooking oil going into the water. They're very conscious of what's in that bucket. And when you're done with your food at the end of the day, there's a garbage waste area to scrape your food into, or there's the bucket that is going to be recycled and it's going to go through a meat shredder, and then they dispose of it accordingly. Whether I was there or not to record this, it happens all day, every day on oil rigs all across the Gulf of Mexico or all around the world. And it's even happening on cruise ships. If that food is eligible and it can be recycled and it's not toxic to the environment or the ocean or the wildlife below, it goes through that meat shredder, it gets ground up into smaller pieces, and it gets thrown back into the ocean. And one last thing I just remembered. Going back to a person swimming down there, swimming in the ocean because everyone was concerned about the welders underwater. I flew into this oil rig one day and coming into land, and I see a boat that's attached to the oil rig. There's nobody in the boat. I'm looking down at it, looking where I'm supposed to land. I made note of it. I was like, that's pretty odd, there's nobody in the boat. I land on the oil rig, tie down the helicopter, shut it off, and walk down the steps and go check on that boat. And there's a person getting out of the water. He's by himself, spearfishing with no concern whatsoever, and just having a great old time out there under the oil rig. There's tons of wildlife out there. People aren't getting eaten alive like you think, and proof is in the pudding. I saw a guy down there spearfishing with no worries whatsoever. Would I personally do that? Absolutely not. I've seen so many sharks down there. That guy, yeah, to each his own. He had a good time. He knew what he was doing. I personally would not be down there swimming by myself just for the fun of it. Well, let me know what you guys think about this. I know there's going to be some comments. I know you guys love to just get behind that keyboard and let me have it, so I'm all ears. Let me know what you think about this video. Check out the shark video, the short. I'll leave it pinned in the comment below. And keep it positive, people. See ya.